3 races in 3 different winners. McDowell, Bell, and Byron have all tasted victory lane in 2021. But what about the veteran champions like Harvick, Truex, Busch, Logano, and Elliott? They are still looking for their very first victory this season. And the 4th race of the campaign brings us to Sin City in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we get ready to see who will roll the dice in the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is going to be a good day to go racing, although very cloudy. Temperature going to be in the mid 70s with overcast clouds, but most importantly, 0% chance of rain with only 9-mile-an-hour wind south towards the racetrack. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday edition of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jack Krause. We're going to get you filled in with everything you need to know for the 3rd race of the NASCAR Cup Series, the Pennzoil 400 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So I wasn't able to do an MDK RaceDay or victory stop on Friday night and Saturday with the Truck Series. It was on at like midnight, and I was this close to falling asleep, and I was not going to try and get a victory stop done late at night, early in the morning. And and with the Xfinity, I was away from my desktop basically the entire day. I was able to watch it on my phone, but was not able to record a video in time for race day or for victory stop. So unfortunately, I had to postpone that as well. But I'm here for the Cup Series, so let's not waste any time and jump into it. Now, that is going to be a somewhat shorter episode of Inside the Lines. We don't have any storylines to talk about. That'll be saved for a future episode of ITL on Monday and or Tuesday, one of those 2 days. We're not going to go over the odds to win because I'm still working on the graphics for that. We're just going to go over the starting grid and what to expect for this race. So let's do that. Let's go over the 2021 Pennzoil 400 starting lineup from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. On the pole, on the front row, on the inside lane is Kevin Harvick, a 2-time Las Vegas winner back in 2015 and in 2018. To his outside is the number 24 car of William Byron, who won a surprising victory last weekend at Homestead. Row 2 has Kyle Larson, who has 3 top 3 finishes in the last 6 Vegas races, and to his outside is another 2-time Las Vegas winner in Martin Truex Jr. One of the biggest surprises in 2021 is the Daytona 500 champion Michael McDowell. He, alongside Kevin Harvick, are the only 2 drivers to have finished in the top 10 in every single race this season. He starts 5th alongside Denny Hamlin, who has finished 3rd in this Vegas event twice. Row 4, Vegas native Kurt Busch, who won here last year in the fall, and to his outside is Chase Elliott, who finished 3rd here back in 2017 and had a really good car last season, but unfortunately had an issue with cutting a tire in turn 1 that caused him a shot at winning this race. He starts in the 8th spot. Row 5 in the inside is Alex Bowman, the number 48 car. He had a best finish of 5th last year, and to his outside, the only 3-time Vegas winner in the field in Brad Keselowski. Row 6 is Tyler Reddick on the inside lane, trying to add some momentum from his 2nd place finish last weekend at Homestead, and to his outside is his teammate Austin Dillon, who had a best finish of 4th here last year. Row 7 is Ryan Newman, who finished 3rd here back in 2015. And starting on 14th on the outside lane of row 7 is the 2009 Las Vegas Spring winner and younger brother to Kurt, Kyle Busch. Row 8 is 2-10 Las Vegas winner Joe Logano. He starts alongside Christopher Bell, but has finished inside the top 4 in 3 of his 4 Xfinity Series Vegas races. Row 9 is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the inside lane, and Chris Buescher, who had a surprising good run last weekend at Miami. He starts 18th. Rounding out row 10 is Ryan Preece on the inside lane, who has 2 top 10s to start the season off. And to his outside is Cole Custer, who also scored 4 top 10s in the last 5 Xfinity races here. Row 11 is Ross Chastain, who won here in the Xfinity Series back in the fall of 2018. And to his outside lane is Daniel Suarez, who has a best finish of 8th back in 2018. Row 12 is Bubba Wallace in the 23 car, got a new sponsor for this weekend in Colombia. His best finish was 6th back in the spring of 2020. And to his outside is Chase Briscoe, who swept the Vegas races last year in the Xfinity Series. Row 13 has Justin Haley, who finished 8th after a really strong run last night in the Xfinity Series, and to his outside is Ryan Blaney, who starts back in 26th spot. He has had a best finish of 5th 3 different times here at Las Vegas. Row 14 has rookie Anthony Alfredo making his Vegas debut, and to his outside is Eric Almirola, who has a best finish of 6th back in 2018. Row 15 has Eric Jones, who had a best finish of 8th 2 times, and to his outside is Matt DiBenedetto, who finished 2nd here twice, including last fall. Row 16 has Garrett Smithley and Cody Ware. Smithley competing in his third Vegas Cup race, and Ware, who finished 35th in his only Vegas Cup event. Row 17 has Corey LaJoie, who finished 16th in this race twice, and BJ McLeod competing in his fourth Vegas race. Row 18 has Josh Bilicki and Quinn Howe, and rounding out the field is Joey Gase in the 15 and Timmy Hill in the 66 car. So what can we expect, and who are the drivers to look out for here at Las Vegas today? Well, first of all, let's talk about what type of race could we potentially see. Now, fortunately for us, we are going to be racing the high downforce package, but luckily, Las Vegas, even though it's not exactly like Homestead, it's got some age to it. It was last repaved back when it was reconfigured in 2007, so 14 years of track not being touched. Track's going to be very bumpy, especially on the inside lane. We've seen cars get very bumpy. I overheard on the broadcast in Xfinity Series with Kurt Busch and Logano talking about extensively on how it is very difficult to sort of hold that wide line because that part is going to be so bumpy. It's going to eat the tires up. So it should be a fun race. Very important with strategy and with tires because of how aggressive this track is going to be. Now, we're not going to have the same type of weather like what we had last weekend at Homestead. It's going to be a lot cooler, like I said. I believe in the low 70s, high 60s, around that area. So it's going to be much faster than last weekend at Homestead, and the fall off should not be as great as what it was at Homestead. But I think overall, even though with this high downforce package, I think we should see a really good race. I mean, last year, I think last year was also a pretty entertaining race. It wasn't the best, but it was still pretty exciting to watch, and I think we're going to see that today. Now, as for drivers to watch out for, so far in 2021, we've had 3 winners I don't think anyone expected. Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500. Christopher Bell winning on the Daytona Road Course, and William Byron. Even though he's in a Hendrick car, nobody expected him to win, and he did that last weekend at Homestead. So a lot of people are wondering, is the parity going to continue? Are we going to see now more drivers that we don't expect up front continue that trend? Or could this be the weekend where we start to see things come back to normal? And Las Vegas could very well be that track where we start to see the veterans come forward. Let's take a look at the last 6 Las Vegas winners, including the fall event. You have champions. All 6 of them are former Cup Series champions. Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, and Kevin Harvick. But it's important to note out those 2 drivers, Brad Keselowski and Joe Logano. They make up half of the last 6 Vegas winners, including Joe Logano, who has gone 2 in a row in the spring races. In 15 races, he has had an average finish of 8.4, 6 top 5s, and 10 top 10s in his 15 Vegas events, and has led nearly 500 laps. Now, compare that with his teammate Brad Keselowski, also 15 starts at Vegas, 11.4, so not as good as an average finish as Joey Logano, but he does have 1 more win. Like I said, he is the only triple-time winner here at this racetrack. Has 1 more top 5, same amount of top 10s, but has much less laps led than Logano. Him only have 282. Now, both Logano and Keselowski, like I said, they are winless in 2021. And with Logano being statistically, this is his best track. He's finished in the top 10 in 9 of the last 10 Las Vegas races and has led laps in all 10 of those starts. Now, compare that again with his teammate Brad Keselowski, who, like I said, is the only triple-time winner in this event. He did have a second-place finish, nearly won back in 2019 when he lost the win to Joey Logano, and has finished in the top 10 in 10 of the last 11 Las Vegas races. So, if there is a race that Team Penske can look to start their momentum and start their quest for the 2021 championship, Vegas could very well be that track. Both of them have run extremely well. Both of them are one of the best drivers at Las Vegas, are very consistent, and are multiple-time winners. Who knows? This could be the start of either Keselowski or Logano beginning their quest for the 2021 championship and having a shot at winning here at Vegas. Now we're going to talk about 2 other former Vegas winners, and they're both also former Cup champions. The first one is Kevin Harvick. Now, last year, we know how sensational of a 2020 season he had, but it is important to note out that he only had, of those 9 wins, only 1 of them came on a mile-and-a-half track, and that was Atlanta. And if we take a look at his races from last year at Vegas, he finished 8th in the spring, leading 92 laps, and 10th in the fall. So wasn't as much of a factor for the race win in either events. He still had solid finishes inside the top 10. And like I said earlier in the starting grid, he is a former NASCAR winner at Vegas, 2 times in fact, back in 2015 and 2018, and is currently riding a 4 consecutive top 10 streak at Vegas. And on top of that, he is the only driver, alongside with Michael McDowell, to finish in the top 10 in every single race this season. Now, yes, it has been a while since Kevin Harvick has gone to victory lane. I believe back at Darlington was the last victory he won, either Darlington or Bristol, and that was about 13-14 races ago. So yes, it's been a while, but granted, it's the start of 2021. We're now starting to get into the bread and butter of NASCAR racetracks. Last weekend we had Homestead. Today we're going to have Vegas. Next week, Phoenix. Now could be the time where Kevin Harvick starts to get the ball rolling. The Daytona road course and the 500, yes, we're going to see more road courses. Those are, I don't say, they don't matter, but they're not as big of a factor compared to the bread and butter tracks of the 1 mile to 1.5 to the 2 mile racetracks. And I think, again, alongside with the Penske drivers of Keselowski and Logano, this could be another track where Harvick could begin his 2021 championship run and get a good run and possibly even have a win. And the other championship driver that we're going to mention is Martin Truex Jr. Now, he has the 4th best average finish out of any driver at Las Vegas, that being a solid 11.0. 2 victories 2 years ago in the fall of 2019 and all the way back in the spring of 2017. So it's been a while since he last went to victory lane in Sin City, at least in the spring event. 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and has led nearly 300 laps. And he's also riding a lot of momentum into Vegas. That's been a really good track for him. Him scoring a top 10 in 6 of the last 7 Vegas races, including those 2 wins. So he knows how to get the job done at Vegas as of late. And just like with the other championship drivers, this could be another race for Truex to get the ball rolling, because if you look back at his playoff run in 2020, it wasn't bad, but let's just say it was not as consistent. He did have that 4 or 5 consecutive streaks of top 3 finishes, and then had bad races at Darlington, Bristol, Talladega, and I believe even at Martinsville finished 22nd after a problem, I believe. I think he had a tire going down or something like that. So while he did have a lot of great runs near the end of 2020, it was not as consistent as it was during the middle part of the regular season. So again, with 2021, he's only had 1 top 10 this season, and he's heading to a track where he's had a lot of recent success. Just like, I'm going to say the same thing like I've said with the other drivers. This is another track, another driver that you're going to look out for, because I think he's going to be a strong contender for, maybe not for the race win. We'll see once we get going racing. We'll see what his car is like in the first 2 stages, but I do believe he is going to be a strong contender for this race win here tonight. But it would be unfair to also point out the other notable drivers like Kyle Busch, for example. He won here back in 2009. He needs to, get something going right for him. He did finish 10th, I believe, at Homestead, but if you look at his race, he was horrible. The fact that he finished 10th was a surprise, or at least into the top 10 was a surprise to see. It's going to be very important to see how Kyle Busch does when we go to another 1.5 mile track at Las Vegas, because if he also struggles there, is this going to be a trend for the rest of the season, or, is this just going to be a one-time thing with him and Ben Bishop, getting used to each other and getting used to how they communicate? Because this could go one of 2 ways. It could go great for Kyle Busch and his new crew chief, or it could go really bad and be added as another race of growing pains to the new crew chief driver relationship. Also, another driver to look at is Denny Hamlin, who won, I think, 7 races in 2020. Also, run really good on the 1.5 mile tracks. I believe swept both races at Kansas. He has won some races on the 1.5 mile tracks. Hasn't won at Las Vegas, but will be a driver to look out for, as well as the defending NASCAR champion in Chase Elliott. He did have a really strong car last year at Vegas in the spring. Unfortunately, he had a tire go down, I believe, and smacked the wall in turns 1 and 2, which ended his shot at winning the race, but he did have a really strong car. So with that in mind, Elliott can run strong at this type of racetrack, so it would also be important to look out for him. And also, who knows, it could be, the opportunity for, like I said, more parity in the series. Could we see Chris Buescher have another great run like what he had at Homestead during the middle portion of the race? How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? He has won at Vegas in the back then Nationwide, now the Xfinity Series. Could he have a strong run here today? About William Byron, Homestead and Vegas, even though they are different, they might have some similar characteristics. Could Byron maybe continue that momentum between him and his new crew chief, Rudy Fugle? That's a possibility. Kyle Larson, like I said, he has finished in the top 3 in 3 of the last 6 Vegas races, so he knows how to run well here, and now he's got, really good equipment at Hendrick Motorsports, had a really strong run last weekend at Homestead, and again, Las Vegas is the type of racetrack that we could see different lines show up during, long green flag runs, which could play into Larson's style. Same thing with Tyler Reddick. As the green flag run gets longer and longer, we start to see maybe drivers trend towards the top lane, which could benefit, drivers like Reddick, drivers like Stenhouse, or Larson. And like I said, I think overall, because of how many different drivers are popping up and showing performance, and the type of drivers that are struggling, makes me very interested for this race. Who knows? Could Michael McDowell pull another top 10? If he can, that would shock me, because I still can't believe this guy is one of only 2 drivers to finish in the top 10 in every race this season. We're only 3 races in, but it's still a shock to see. Could he potentially continue that streak and go for another top 10 and go for 4 in a row? Who knows? And that's the greatest part I think about this race, is that there is still a lot of unknown. We still don't have an idea of who are the contenders and the pretenders, because the veterans right now are struggling, while the drivers that we don't expect to run well are running well, like Byron, maybe not Reddick, but like Byron, like McDowell even, like drivers you don't expect to be up front are performing well. And on top of that, Vegas is a pretty good racetrack. It's got some age to it, so I think, like I said, when we get into a long green flag run, the field is going to spread out, but I think you're going to see tire management become a factor. Not as much as Homestead, I believe. I don't think the fall off is going to be as dramatic, but I think it's still otherwise going to be a pretty entertaining race, so I am looking forward to it. As for my pick to win, I honestly have no idea, but I am leaning towards the Penske camp, not Logano, but I got Brad Keselowski. He's starting 10th of this race, the only triple-time winner at Vegas. I think he's going to go for his 4th Vegas win and take home his first win of 2021. So I got Brad Keselowski winning this race. But yeah, that's going to conclude this episode of MDK Race Day. Guys, tell me in the comment section down below, who do you think is going to win? But until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the 2021 Pennzoil 400 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Be sure to tune back in on this channel immediately following this race, as we'll have an episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop recapping all the events from today's race. But once again, my name is Jett, and I'll see y'all next time.